Well, good Monday morning to you, and welcome to our Monday morning edition of Healthy Living South Mississippi. It's our live show. It's Doctor's Nutrition, and we're here to help you live a better lifestyle. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you? That's what we're here for. Help you live a healthier, better lifestyle.
Wonderful.
I'm Jim Tabor, your host, along with Doctors Jim and Janine Fox.
Hello.
Of Doctor's Nutrition. And this is the show where we talk about different things, that are so relatable to a lot of people out there as far as things that they're dealing with in their daily lives, and try to help you live a better way with some of those issues that you might have. So, and we invite you to call in 896-0713 or 800-349-0713 are our phone lines. If you don't want to ask them personally, you can pass the question along to our producer, and they'll be happy to ask us for you. So this is something, in the 3 years that we've been doing this show, 3+ years we've been doing this show, we've never talked about.
Right.
But it's something that's very intriguing, very interesting.
Yes.
And that's genetics and epigenetics.
There's a lot to it, too. That's why we thought we would talk about it and let people know, because they never think about it.
Yeah, everybody thinks that their genes determine everything, and they don't. Well, not directly, okay, let's put it that way. Indirectly, yes. Your genes are like your computer, okay? It's your hardware. Now, the epigenetics is the software, and you can either get stupid software or you can get some good software, okay? And it depends on what that software tells the computer to do, that's what the computer does. And your genes are the same way. And that's what epigenetics is the things that affect how our genes express. That's the key. For instance, you've got a family history full of heart disease. Does that mean you're going to have heart disease? Doesn't necessarily mean it. It means you're more predisposed to it, and your genes are there that could. Depends on how you express those genes.
And which means you need to change your epigenetics.
That's what you, and
to
you can
keep
control
from expressing that. Yes.
Yeah, you can't control, I mean, we can't go back and say, Grandpa, okay, I want to change my genes. That don't work. But we are got those genes, that's the hand we're dealt. Now, what we can change is the epigenetics. And what that basically boils down to is everything that we eat, the air we breathe, the water we drink, the coffee, whatever, everything affects our epigenetics, literally. Even emotions. I mean, some of the things that are getting into that, even the emotional stress and so on, it affects how those genes are expressed. But we still have some control over it.
They even know that when your mom is pregnant and you're, when she's pregnant with you, things that she does affects your genetics and epigenetics, because it is affecting you at that time.
Well, I was talking to a friend recently, and she said that her grandmother had breast cancer.
Right.
Her mother had breast cancer.
Right.
And she was concerned about, could she get possibly have the gene or that special, kind of like the thing Angelina Jolie had.
Right.
The BRCA1.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. That's what she said. So should she go ahead and have the mastectomy to assure the fact that she won't get breast cancer, or what?
Well,
I mean, I guess that goes along the line of the genetic thing.
And here's where it gets into real controversy, real quick. Angelina Jolie chose to do that because she had the BRCA1 mutation, and we've all got mutations. Let's dig through that. That's real quick. We've all got them.
Yes.
Everybody's got those. But just because you have the BRCA1 doesn't mean you're going to get breast cancer. It's not an emphatic, oh yeah, you're going to get it. It's you're predisposed to it. Now, what you do epigenetically. In other words, do you eat the right kind of foods? Do you do the right kind of things? Then that's going to really determine, do you express that gene?
And when you talk about the BRCA1 gene, there is actually something that we use in a supplement that has been shown in research to help prevent breast cancer, even if you have the BRCA1 gene.
Yeah,
and that would be an epigenetic factor that you can do for prevention.
Right.
So there are things you can do other than surgery to actually help prevention. It's not a guarantee.
No.
But neither is surgery. Honestly, you can get breast cancer come up somewhere else. I mean, it doesn't 100% prevent you from getting it, even though you've had a mastectomy.
Right.
And you have to have your ovaries removed too, because the BRCA1 gene also is ovarian cancer marker as well.
Affects those too.
So it actually affects a few things.
So what is the supplement that?
DIM.
DIM. Oh, okay.
Dimethylmethane.
Yeah,
and there's some pretty good research on it. It goes back several years that actually showed that what happens in the BRCA1 gene is you can't make that particular protein and enzyme that's needed in the body, and so you don't express that gene very well. Well, with the BRCA1 mutation, you don't express it. The DIM has actually shown to increase BRCA1 activity even if you have the BRCA1 gene mutation. So there's things, and that's an epigenetic factor.
Now, genetics are, okay, there's the gene, but the epigenetics is something that turns that gene on or turns it off. And we've done a lot over the past, I guess, 10 years. You watch this thing unfold, and it's like that big, ripe watermelon that just hit the ground and it's exploding. And literally, that's where science and it's where medicine is going in the near future. Now, you know, from the mainstream, or from the scientific point down to, you know, mainstream or Main Street medicine, yeah, it's going to be 20, 30 years probably. But it's there. And a lot of the docs are now starting to look at it.
The research that's coming out is unbelievable, and there was
Yeah.
so much unknown, and there's probably still is a lot unknown.
Still
but
is.
there's more that's coming out about the genetics, and they know what the epigenetic factors affect. And so, I mean, there's a lot of research out there showing things that you can do epigenetically to prevent some of the things that you do have. So that's kind of what we wanted to, you know, get across today, is that even though it's in your genetics, you
Yeah.
can't change it.
It's just like back to the heart disease thing that Grandpa had and your dad had. All right, now do I have to have it? No, because I've got the genes for it, and they would push me in that way. But if I don't do something differently than what Grandpa and Dad did, then yes, I'm probably going to get that
Yeah.
same problem. But if I change, if I decide, oh, okay, I've got that gene there that I have to work around, there's an epigenetic factor there. I can change my diet, I can change my lifestyle, I can do all those things, and I don't have to have that.
I saw an example that I thought people might understand, that I thought was kind of neat, was about bees.
Yes.
Bees are born identical. They're all identical.
Every egg is the same.
Every egg is
Really?
the same.
Wow.
But yet people know that there's a queen. Most people know that in the hive there's a queen. Well, the difference is what that bee was fed. If that bee is fed royal jelly the whole time, it changes.
Now, for
so
the
the genetics are the same.
For the first 3 days, all of the bees, little eggs, when they the larvae starts to form, for the first 3 days, they all get a little bit of royal jelly. But then the worker bee, they stop feeding it royal jelly. You know, they do this innately, they know how to do it. But they stop, and that one that they decided, okay, she's going to be the queen, they feed her royal jelly through her entire stage of development.
Which makes her fertile.
Makes
and
her-
nobody
yeah.
else is, even though they have the same genetics. So what
Identical.
you're fed makes a huge difference in what comes out in your genes.
Wow.
So it's kind of cool. I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah,
with the
that is
bees.
very interesting. All right, our phone lines are 896-0713 or 800-349-0713. Even if you have a question that isn't regarding genetics, please feel free to call in. Let's take a break. We'll be right back. And welcome back to our Monday morning live edition of the Doctor's Nutrition Show. Jim Tabor along with Doctors Jim and Janine Fox of Doctor's Nutrition, located on Cowan Road in Gulfport, just south of Pass Road. And we're talking about genetics and epigenetics, which I liked the way you describe what it is. Like, one's the hard drive and one's the software.
Right.
So,
Well, and that's the way the people in genetics now are talking about it. They, you know, for a long time they said, well, you know, the genes are the genes, and they are what they are. Well, yeah, they are. But the more we're finding out is the field. I mean, once we got the genetic code, if you will, unraveled or actually mapped out, they're finding like, okay, it's the epigenetics, because they took identical twins.
Right.
You know, and they've studied them from birth, you know, now right on through the later parts of life. And they may be identical and express everything identically as long as they're being raised. But then let's say that they go off to college and one goes to Berkeley and one goes to Harvard or somewhere. You know, totally different ends of the world, totally different respects of what the food would be, cultures, lifestyle, you name it. And they start seeing differences in these identical twins. And the only thing that they can say is, ooh, that's epigenetics.
Right.
That's what changed them. It's how they express those genes. And there's a lot of things that, you know, there's a lot of people come to us now because they've read a little bit about this, and they talk about methylation. You know, I think methylation is the one thing that everybody has kind of heard about. Ooh, I got to have my methyl gene tested. And yeah, there's a gene for that. Actually, there's probably 150.
There's a few,
okay?
right? Yeah,
Probably
more than one.
150. But needless to say, they'll come in and they'll want these genes checked because, you know, they want to know, do I need to be assured of this? Is something wrong? And we can look at that. But you have the methylation problem, and that can be addressed epigenetically with supplements and so on and so forth. And then there's the histones, which are, you know, the other things, and you know, there's just acetylation. There's all sorts of other things that you can do.
Well, kind of to put it simple, methylation is good. You want to methylate. And actually they
That
found
suppresses a lot of genes,
methylation
yeah.
suppresses a lot of the bad genes that tend to come out. So if you methylate properly, then you're actually going to be better off. Now, acetylation is what you don't want. And so if you actually have what they call the acetyl group hooked to the tail of the histone, and I mean, it gets real technical.
Real quick.
Then you can actually have it unwind, and if it unwinds, then it can express itself.
Yeah.
So people say, okay, what can I do about this? For one, there are things that have been researched to slow down the acetylation, which you don't want, which is supplements. Actually,
Every one of them.
the turmeric is a really good one, or curcumins.
Right.
I mean, actually, when it's done in research, it's the curcumin because it's the extract and active ingredient. So you don't want just straight turmeric because you might not be getting any active ingredient. Also, one of the active ingredients in green tea has another one that's been shown to actually
The
really help.
ECGC, yeah.
So when you start looking at a lot of the antioxidants, a lot of the, resveratrol, things like that that's been shown to actually help keep it from expressing, even with the BRCA1 gene, the DIM. Also, the other broccoli extracts actually have been shown to help with the cancer genes. So there's a lot of things that they've shown to help. Now, also, at the same time, you need to methylate. So for methylation, you need things to help methylate. And a lot of people, it's really big right now on getting tested to see if you are one of those with the genetic mutation where you don't methylate properly, which is a pretty big part of the population, actually. I actually have the worst gene for that. So I do a lot of stuff to make sure I methylate.
Yeah, 10 years ago, they told us, the researchers, if you talk to the people in the industry about it, and the researchers, and so they said, well, maybe 20% of the population might have this gene set up that she's got. Now we're looking at a lot more than that. They're saying, over the years, you've watched them, and they came out and said, well, maybe 20%. Now they're saying probably 40, 60, and sometimes as much as 80% have at least a single mutation or so on. And in all the genetic testing that we've done, in those two particular genes, the 1298-677 gene set that we look at, I've only seen one person
It didn't have either.
that didn't have either one and mutated, and that's
But
rare.
having it where it's a double mutation, where you get it from both parents, actually makes it a bigger problem. And you still may be able to methylate, but you have to make sure you have the factors in order to do it, which is your methylfolate is one of the big ones, and you don't want regular folic acid. Regular folic acid will actually hurt you.
Yeah.
You want methyl B12. You don't want cyanocobalamin. You want B6, B2. There's a lot of things, the betaine. There's so many things that can help you methylate. And then there's things that just help methylation in general.
I think that's the B12 that I take.
It
Yeah,
is.
it
That's
is.
all-
Yeah, it
that's,
is.
that's the only one we use anymore. We don't.
Yeah.
We have started more and more that came out about this methylation and how important methylation is and how we use the forms needed for methylation
Yeah.
because it is so important. Even if somebody doesn't have the methylation issue, there's still things that will stop methylation. There's still things. Excessive alcohol will stop methylation.
Stress.
Their stress will stop methylation.
Who doesn't have that,
So there's
right?
things that will affect it.
I wasn't going to say nothing, but
I know.
And even something called DMG, which is so safe we can give it to a day-old baby.
Yeah, I remember that. You talking about you could just put your finger in it
and
give
it
to
helps the
them.
immune system and stuff. Well, it is a methyl donor. So anything that has a methyl donor helps methylation.
Yeah.
So it gets really in depth, but as a whole, we wanted people to get away with knowing what you do affects your genes, and there is things that you can do for them.
Caller wanted to call and ask, what is methylation?
Okay.
Well, okay, methylation it's a chemical term, basically. You have a methyl group, which is a certain grouping of carbon and hydrogen and so on, and oxygen. And that particular little group, what we call it a methyl group, when that attaches to certain things, that's methylation, okay? And when you look in your genes, the methylation actually binds that gene and won't let it express. It locks it in place, so to speak.
And kind of an easy thing to say is methylation is a detoxification pathway.
There you go.
Honestly, that's
what it
if
is.
you don't methylate, you build up toxins.
Yep.
And building up toxins does affect the genes and does make it express more, which
Exactly.
means the bad stuff can come out if you don't have enough methylation.
So as the song goes, express yourself.
Exactly.
Express yourself, that's right.
Like I said, genetics is it's confusing. Even he reads books on genetics constantly.
They're calling already.
Yeah, they're calling already.
He is constantly reading books on genetics. And it really, like he'll say, oh, this is a hard read because it is so in-depth.
Right.
You know, but we did want it, like I said, the main thing we wanted people to come away with is that you can do something about it.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, our phone lines are open, 896-0713 or 800-349-0713. Whether you have a question regarding your genetics or epigenetics or something else, please feel free to call. We'll be back in a moment with this week's special. And welcome back, Friday morning. Friday morning. Where am I going? Lord, I wish
Friday
it was
already?
Friday. I'm trying to get there, man. Trying to hurry the week up. Yeah, y'all just go home after this.
Yeah,
That's right.
we'll see you.
Anyway, it's our Monday morning live edition
Yeah.
of the Doctor's Nutrition Show. Let's talk about this week's special.
Well, we're talking about epigenetics. What about two things that do it? The PhytoOxyPro is a combination of everything that Janine was talking about. You know, the green tea, the pomegranate, the curcumins, the broccoli seed extract, so resveratrol, all in one thing. So something that you take on a daily basis that is just the overall, creme de la creme, if you will, of that antioxidant.
And it's just a one-a-day antioxidant that pretty much anybody can take. So it's kind of a preventative.
And then the methyl core is the hardcore methylation stuff, the B12, the methylfolate, and all the other cofactors that go
the
with
B6,
it.
the betaine,
all that.
So it has all the things with it that you need to methylate. And especially anybody that has a methylation issue definitely should take the methyl core. And so we decided to put something that actually prevents acetylation and something that promotes methylation for, our specials this week.
All right. Miss Betty from Wool Market called. She wants to know what treatment you suggest for osteoarthritis.
Perna.
Pertamax.
Pertamax. It's a shellfish. It's got all 9 classes of your glucosamines, chondroitins, all that stuff in it. And it works wonders. I mean, it really does.
People can't believe how well it works. I mean, they've maybe even tried glucosamines and tried other arthritis products and did not get the results they got with the Pertamax. So it is a little bit different combination. It does have the boswellia. It does have your MSM. It has, so it has other stuff in with it too. But it works really well. It takes about 2 weeks probably to start working. Some people say they can see it in a day or two, but at least 2 weeks we say give it, and sometimes up to a month to see a difference. But it is something that we sell a lot of. And
Miss Betty, if you didn't get that, you can call. If you have any other questions, you can call their office, 897-0070.
Yes.
That'll work.
The doctors will be there after 10 o'clock this morning. Or you can stop by. The doctor's office is located on Cowan Road in Gulfport, south of Pass Road. It's right across the street from where the old Kmart Garden Center was. New gym going in there now. But they're open Monday through Friday. On Monday through Thursday, I believe you have a nurse in there that draws blood beginning at 8 o'clock.
8 o'clock.
And then Friday from 10 to 2.
10 to 2, and Saturdays 11 to 2 just for getting refills. Jim and Janine are there Monday, Tuesdays, and Thursdays. Dr. Bull is there Monday through Friday.
Right.
Correct.
So again, you don't need an appointment, and there's never a charge for consultation.
And speaking of arthritis, she called about arthritis, there are some other factors, some other epigenetic factors that will play a role in osteoarthritis. Because osteoarthritis a lot of times is genetic. Now sometimes it can be from an old injury, but it can be genetic as well. And things that you eat to increase inflammation can make it worse. So you want to stay off of things that are inflammatory, like your grains, like your sugar, and sometimes even the nightshade plants.
Yeah, the best. Your tomato sandwich may have to go.
I know,
Oh,
because unfortunately the nightshades now.
And I will be honest. That used to be something I could eat every week. Was a good tomato sandwich. Just mayonnaise, tomatoes. That's it. I couldn't tell you the last one time I had one.
Well, since I don't eat bread anymore, I definitely can't get one. But and one reason I stopped eating grains was osteoarthritis. That's why I thought about it. I actually genetically have that too. I got some bad genes actually. But I do have osteoarthritis in the family, and my joints had gotten so bad that nothing was helping until I changed my diet. And so that's what really made me do it years ago, was not weight loss. A lot of people think it's just weight loss. No, it's not. It's about feeling better and not having pain all the time.
Again,
So
that's back to that epigenetics.
Right.
So I could change that. Yes, I already had some osteoarthritis because of my genetics, but I could reverse it and have it not flare up if I ate right. So that's what we kind of, what you eat makes a huge difference in your genetics.
Oh yeah, and they have a low glycemic diet.
Yes.
That you can stop by and pick it up. There's no charge for that. It's just a sheet. It's got, on the front it has good foods for you, and then it's got fair foods for you, and on the back it's like, you don't want to go there.
Yeah, stuff you shouldn't
But there's
eat.
so many good things on there. There really are. A lot of people say, "Oh, I bet I can't really eat anything." You're cutting out, sugars and breads are two of the big things
Right.
that you're cutting out. But you know, my wife and I, we enjoy chicken breasts that are on that's that's on there. Matter of fact, I'm gonna make what she calls a chicken roast tomorrow in the crock pot. Yeah, with chicken breasts and some vegetables.
Tonight we're having ground chicken that I made up with some peppers and all kind of stuff we're going to wrap in lettuce. So we're going to have, it's kind of a Thai recipe
Kind of take
I
off
use.
on the Thai
I'm still waiting for you to come in here on our new kitchen set and cook that cornbread.
Well,
that's not really
that
bread.
takes too long.
Well, you can have it pre-prepped
Well, I
or
know,
something like that and do that. But I mean, it is amazing. Yes,
So
I've
there's a lot of
enjoyed
things. You
it,
can just
but-
change what you do. But I mean, if you get to where your joints hurt bad enough, you'll do it.
Yes.
I always say that's what people, when they come and say, well, I'm hurting, what can I do? One thing is you got to change your diet. And yes, there's things like the curcumins that we mentioned before that are great anti-inflammatories. So there's things that you can do, and then Pertamax, which is great for osteoarthritis, because I have to do that and change my diet. If I just change my diet and miss my Pertamax, it still flares up. So I have to do a combination of both. So a lot of people out there are like that, but you just have to find what you need to do to control your genetics.
Right. And it's really about that. It's kind of an individual thing, you know, about the genetics. It's like, for instance, back to the heart disease thing. You know, my family's riddled with it, and yet I don't have the heart disease that they've had, and so on, because
And he is the longest living male in his family.
And I've changed. Yeah, I mean, I've worked very hard to change my epigenetics. You know, no doubt about it. So you can do it. It's just about taking that first step and doing something about it. You don't have to, just because you got a gene that you're dealt with, doesn't mean that you have to succumb to it. You can actually do
And we've
something
had
about
people that already have been, like I said, it already comes. They already have the problem. And you can still do things to actually kind of calm it down and keep it from flaring up and reverse it some.
Yeah.
So there are things you can do. And that's prevention's always the best, and that's what we always tell people.
We
You're
always
always
tell.
better if you know it's in your family. Do something for prevention. Don't wait
Right.
until you get it. And that's another thing we wanted to stress today.
Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So there's a lot of things, and you know, and not, as you said, a history of so many kind of different diseases in your family. that
Yes.
You can take
And
steps.
everybody has some.
Everybody's
Yeah.
got
And
something.
everybody has mutations. When you do, I mean, everybody has something. So it's just which ones do you have, which ones are you more just predisposed to, and what do you have to do for prevention? And we can maybe help you with that and help you figure out what you might take if something does run in your family.
Wow.
Yeah,
Pretty interesting.
it is
Just like
interesting.
we always say, an ounce of prevention's worth a pound of cure.
Yeah,
That's right.
They say you can study the epigenetics and genetics like every day for the rest of your life, and you still wouldn't know it all because there's so much to it. There really is.
Yeah, it just seems like it because you know you hear about genetics and you know not so much epigenetics, but more about genetics than anything.
Yeah, that's why we wanted to bring
And
up
it's
the
just
epigenetics.
covers such a broad spectrum.
Well, epigenetics is what we can help people with. We
Yeah.
can't change your genetics.
Exactly, you can't
but
change
we
the
can help you
genetics
with your
because
epigenetics.
it's part of your what you've handed down from
Right.
It's your hardware.
generation to generation. Exactly.
Exactly. It's your hardware. You can change your software. If you don't like your software, you can change it. If you don't like Word, you can go to whatever the other programs are. You know, you can make some changes there. So that's what it's all about.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It is.
All right, we got less than a minute left. What are we talking about next week?
How about chronic viruses? What they do to us?
Yeah.
Ooh, it's nasty.
How
Really?
chronic
Yeah.
viruses affect you, and many people out there, probably shingles, Epstein-Barr virus, cytomegalovirus. I mean, there's so many viruses that we have in
you're like,
us. And what can you do for them, and how to keep them suppressed?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. It's
Interesting.
going to be real interesting. I'm
And
sure.
again, we always invite you, if you have any topic that you'd like us to talk about, you can email me at the initial J, Tabor, T-A-B-O-R, at WLOX.com. Or, you can, send me an email, or you can call. I'll be glad to, talk about that one day. Anyway, have yourself a great week. Watch out for the weather. It's going to get kind of crazy today.